It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode, a Friday episode of The Oil Stream. Dustin Nielson, handsome Tom Gazzola with you here. As always, The Oil Stream brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. What says heading into a weekend like a delicious Popeye's chicken sandwich, over a dozen locations, all of them locally owned and operated, coming soon in St. Albert, already open in Windermere, and all the other delicious neighborhoods that they've been in for quite some time. Tommy, what's up, buddy?
You know what's funny is that during the wait for the availabilities after practice today, myself and Cam Moon were discussing the chicken outlets in Edmonton. And, you know, we talked about Northern Chicken. I've got a Mary Brown's close by. I've got the new 109th Street location of Popeye's close by. And I was like, Mooner, like, you got to hit up Popeye's, man. And he's like, I've never had Popeye's.
What?
I don't know if I'm ready for a Popeye's. I think because he was talking about Northern Chicken. I'm like, Northern Chicken's great. Like, I was there a couple of weeks ago with Jack Michaels for lunch. Fantastic. But if you want a quick, like, pick me up, you go to Popeye's, okay? And Mooner almost didn't believe it. And I sold him on Popeye's, I think.
Man, all you had to do, this is the exact reason that whenever you're down at the rink at practice and games, and if I get down to the games, we should keep a bunch of chicken nuggets freshly in our pockets. So somebody's like, Mooner's like, I don't know about it. You're like, boom, what do you think about this? And jam in his mouth, and he's going to be sucked in for life, buddy. Sucked in for life.
And then, boom, from the other pocket, blackened ranch.
Yeah, exactly. And then he turns around and I'm standing behind him with a chicken sandwich like this, just holding up, being like, let's go, buddy. If my wife, she's not a fan of any fast food, she has this fetish for these Popeye's chicken nuggets. If they can win her over, they can win anybody over, buddy.
Yeah. Gregor and I had it, I feel like the last time there was a home game, so like December 16th, maybe even before that. Like, he does his show from here, so he doesn't have to go all the way to St. Albert and back. And he's like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, well, let's go get Popeye's. So I went and grabbed Popeye's, and he devoured it, man. So it's so good.
I like how you did like a mini Gregor impression there, too. Yeah, I'm hungry. Let's get some of that Popeye's, sorry.
I'm hungry. Yeah. Like, okay, let's go, Greg.
Popeye's?
I'll get Popeye's. Yeah,
that's great. All right, practice today. Interesting. Yep. I mean, they still don't have enough guys to even get a full lineup out there in practice. But Tommy, what was the big takeaway today?
Big takeaway has to be Stuart Skinner in the starter's net, if you will. I know Jack Michaels always mocks me for putting starter's net on Twitter, but that is what it has become over the last X amount of years. And Skinner was manning it. And then the other end was Mikko Koskinen and Ilya Konovalov. And Koskinen really was the only one doing the actual drills. Konovalov would come in every now and then to take some shots. So he's clearly third wheel here. And Skinner, it feels like Dusty, he's going to have a chance to run with it. It starts tomorrow against Ottawa, obviously. But it seemed like there's a quiet confidence there, listening to him talk, listening to Dave Tippett talk as well. And why shouldn't there be? The guy's 6-0-2 in Bakersfield this season. His record here, obviously, not as good, but still, his last two starts were wins, and that's important because this is a team that's been starving for them and hasn't won since he was the goalie. And this looks like an opportunity for him to take the ball and run with it. Let's see how he does.
To me, it's a no-brainer. I wasn't sure Tippett would do it, but it was a no-brainer, so I can see why he did. I was wanting to do it. I just wasn't sure. I thought maybe he'd go back, and I had a pretty good debate with Rashog this morning on the Smash Hit Nielsen show, if you want to track that down on the Nielsen show podcast. But, Rashog said, a chance for Tippett to kind of go back to Skinner, one more time and say, like, we might need you down the stretch. And I said, look, if Mike Smith is going to be out for the next 2 weeks, whatever it is, one thing we already know about Mikko Koskinen is that he can't run with it when he gets the net. We know that, right? Yep. So you don't need him to be that guy because he isn't that guy. Mikko Koskinen is an average NHL goaltender, which is still very impressive in the overall scheme of things, but he's an average NHL goaltender who I personally believe doesn't have the makeup to be a legitimate number one guy. I'm not talking about like just the skill set, but I think just that's not who he is. He's not built that way. So we know that about him. Yep. We don't know that about Skinner yet. So so you give Skinner the net for a bit. Who knows? Maybe he plays well against Ottawa. They don't play again until Thursday if Smith can't go. And huge games against Calgary and Florida coming up, Florida, Calgary, whatever the order is. I mean, a big opportunity for this guy to step in. And at least then you're figuring it out with him. When you already know that Koskinen might give you a game, maybe two, but then there's going to be this drop-off. So interested to see that Tippett actually probably is believing in a similar philosophy at this point. Kind of have to be there right now, don't you?
I would assume that the mentality from a coach's standpoint and a team standpoint is that with Koskinen, you know what you're going to get. You just summed it up perfectly. And guess what? Right now, that's not good enough. Whereas with Skinner, there's some hope there. And that glimmer of hope is something that this team is clamoring for. So absolutely go with him. Let him have a chance. And I think that's a big difference because I think this team probably, even though they don't say it and they won't admit to it, I would assume, and it seems like to me the indicators are there, it is a mentally fragile group. They need confidence. We know that. So you need something that might give you that little spark. And I think Stuart Skinner between the pipes might be something that contributes to that 100%.
Anything else in practice today? So Kassian apparently up there with McDavid and Draisaitl. Would you read into anything you saw today without a full bevy of skaters out there?
It looks like that's the way it's going to go tomorrow. And then Puljujarvi, Hyman with McLeod down the middle. I mean, I think too, Tippett talked about it. They were kind of hoping that they would have Cuckoo back, whatever the testing or the symptoms have not led to him getting the green light. And then there's a possibility as well that either Benson, Fogle, or both could be available by tomorrow. They're being tested again today. And so I think that's why I think they were a man short when it came to having 18 skaters for the game as of this practice this morning. And so I think they're banking on, 1, 2, maybe all 3 of those guys being ready by tomorrow and coming out of COVID protocol. We'll see. You would have to think odds are one of them should be available. And hopefully it's a forward because, they're kind of shorthanded right now.
What do we make of a top 6 if it is indeed when they drop the puck tomorrow? McDavid between Draisaitl, Kassian, McLeod between Hyman and Puljujarvi. What do you think of that makeup for that game against Ottawa?
I was thinking about that today when Tippett was talking about it. I just feel like for this one game, he just wants to go for it, get that win, get the monkey off their back, whatever you want to describe it as, the weight off their shoulders. And so he's going to stack up McDavid, Draisaitl, and I think Kassian's played there before, right? With those guys a couple years ago.
Yeah, he's played there before. Yep.
We know Zach Kassian's not a first, second line winger, but he can moonlight, and this is his chance to. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and he could fill the void for a couple of games if need be. So I think this is Dave Tippett and the coaching staff saying, listen, we got to go all in. We need a win. And he feels confident enough in just putting McDavid, Draisaitl together and rolling them and trying to get this one. They've had plenty of time to rest up and get healthy. So here we are.
The interesting note about this to me is I don't know if they've done it without Nuge there before, right? Because usually they'd move Nuge and Hopkins over to the middle. So to me, it kind of leads me to believe that, they like what they're seeing from McLeod right now, comfortable enough to put McDavid and Draisaitl together, but then have the confidence in McLeod to at least be a reasonable option down the middle with Hyman and Puljujarvi. Now, that's 2 pretty good wingers. I'm intrigued to see what that line can do, but I think it does show a little bit of confidence in Ryan McLeod, which is a nice thing, an opportunity for him to get a little bit of a bump here until Nugent Hopkins returns, and who knows who else they add to this lineup. So let's just leave it at that for now. I don't really need to dive into the Vander Kane discussion again right now because that's been well, you know what? Let's just wrap up the week with that. Tommy, do we just kind of wait through the weekend for this investigation to end and then it all starts up again next week or what?
Yeah, I suppose we have to. I even made the joke offhand to the guys in the media lounge. Like, does Evander Kane qualify for the Olympic team if they want? Like, if he wants to play hockey, he'd be the best player on the team. I don't know where it's going. It just obviously further delayed, and all the insiders have given us updates on that.
Sit and wait for now.
Somebody text one of my buddies texted me. He said, "Where's Evander at?" And I just wrote, "Waiting for another lengthy suspension." I said it in jest, but
yeah,
it doesn't. When they're investigating again, Dusty, like
Not good.
I don't think it's good. So
Yeah. Well, we'll
know.
see how it sorts itself out.
Yeah.
If not, we always had this week, which was a real fun and reasonable week. So that was that was great. Yeah, that was awesome.
Good level-headed debate discussion amongst everybody.
All right, let's get into your Ken Morrison Remax question of the day. Visit his website at kenrmorrison.com. He's been with Remax for 20 years, top 10 realtor with Remax Excellence in the Edmonton area. Give him a call, 780-993-4815. If you're buying or selling, he's got you covered. He's your guy. Tommy, what do you got today, buddy?
All right. In honor of the All-Star teams being announced, I know they're doing the last man thing. Let's have a little fun. We're going into the weekend here, Dusty. Is there any way that the NHL can revive this game and this weekend, throw the skills competition or whatever the hell they call it now in there? Because A, it's boring again, even with the 3-on-3. B, they've tried to bribe the players with money. They don't care. Are we so beyond the point of repair that the All-Star game is always going to be this crappy in the weekend? Because I've covered, I think, 5 All-Star games, and the worst part of those weekends was the actual events at the arena. Like the skills comp, tedious, game, boring, everyone's hungover, nobody cares. And can we ever get it back to maybe how it was pre-2000, where guys took pride in playing in the game? Even though it wasn't a full 100% game, like where you're going full tilt, it always had a little spice. Guys were proud to play in it, and they gave it was like a glorified ODR game with the best players in the world. Can it, or will it, or is there a way to get it back to that?
Yeah, this is a deep question. I don't care about it. Like, I don't care about the All-Star game. So the only reason I care about it now is because I have kids, and kids, like for Marshall and Elizabeth, to be able to watch McDavid and Ovechkin, and like especially if it was here, right? You could go down and see all their hockey heroes and things like that. So, I mean, I think you should have it on a regular basis, but it's only for the market, for the business partners, and for kids. Like, I don't know a bunch of grown-ass adults who are like, oh, you know what I'm doing this weekend? I'm watching the NHL All-Star Tournament. I mean, maybe there are, but it's certainly not appointment tuning. So I would throw, what do you think if they went back North America versus the world? Maybe, because we don't get a lot of best on best anymore. I'm not sure it'll be a great game, but I mean, or Canada versus the world. It's all, well, there's too many good players in the United States now. So it would have to be like a North America versus the world or something. Maybe that gets a little bit of the spark going again. I don't know.
I think we're beyond the point of repair. I think that the players are so coddled. I don't think they care. I just think that it's got to the point where in the players' collective minds, to them, it's a hassle. It's not as much of an honor as it used to be, and they don't give two you-know-whats. I think it has to be within the players being like, damn, All-Star games are fun. You want to win it. That's gone. It briefly came back when they first introduced the 3-on-3. I think that was in Nashville, and I was at that one. It was really good, but it's slowly declined since. I just don't think the players give two craps about it to the point where it's beyond repair.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. How do you get the players to buy back in? Like,
they tried, man. They try to bribe them with money, get $1 million to the winning team, cars, all that stuff. To them, it's just a pain in the butt.
Braden, who's watching on the live stream, if you are watching the live stream right now, feel free to ask a question. Get you some answers. Of course, subscribe to the podcast. Wherever you find your podcast, search the oil stream. Give us a sub there. He says he enjoyed it when they did the draft style a few years back. The draft was like the draft night, at least. Did you cover any of the draft ones?
Yes. Yeah, but I didn't actually.
That was kind of fun.
I watched on TV. It was neat because you would joke around about it.
Yeah.
I remember Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
I have a quick story about that. That was the one where Phil Kessel was like the last man, and I think he got caught checking out the girls that were, chaperoning the players up and down the stage, and I remember seeing we went out to one of the numerous NHL parties that night, and the players are there, all the media, everybody's kind of like all going to the same parties and seeing each other. I remember watching, it was Tyler Seguin walk out with both of the girls that were presenting or chaperoning, and then like 4 others with a big smile on his face going to the next spot. And I'm just like, to be him right now would be amazing. And I'll tell you what, they were all 10s, man. Like, and everybody was in a great mood. Incredible. I just remember that. And I was like, hey, that was the girl Phil Kessel was checking out. And one of them I kind of knew because I think she was an ice girl, and I talked to her a couple of times. And that was a good draft. That was
where was
and then the All-Star game was good.
Where was poor Phil Kessel?
Having hot dogs.
Yeah, I guess. Right, yeah.
Having hot dogs.
All right, that's your Kenmore's Remax question of the day. How do you save the All-Star game? All right, let's get to it. Buy it or deny it for Jiffy Lube out in Morinville, and only the one in Morinville, locally owned and operated. Go out and see Craig and his crew out there Monday to Friday, 8 to 6, Saturday 9 to 4. Huge Oilers fans, huge fans of the oil stream. That's why they sponsor it. No commission sales. Nice laid back oil change experience. So check all your fluids, right? That's what they always do. So that's great. All right, here we go. Tommy, way too early to ask this question, but I see it pop up sometimes and people bitching about it. So buy it or deny it. The Oilers will end up regretting Darnell Nurse's contract.
I'll say deny it. Listen, it hasn't even kicked in.
I know.
First of all,
that's the thing.
It hasn't even kicked in. I've seen a lot of people text in our show, your show about it, tweet us, and they just go, that $9.25 million, really well spent. I'm like, well,
but that's what I feel so bad. I feel so bad texting back to them and being like, technically, he doesn't even make that yet.
Yeah. Is he having a down year offensively? Yes. Is he having struggles in his own zone? Yes. I think over the course of this deal, I think he'll still be a rock-solid defenseman, and I think they'll get their bang for their buck. And like Leon, not to the extent of Leon Draisaitl, because they're getting more than enough bang for their buck, but I think those people, the chorus, if you will start to dwindle as things go on.
Yeah, I'm going to deny it too. I mean, mostly just because it's too damn early to go the other way.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, maybe he doesn't have a season ever as good as the one he had last year. Maybe last year was his career year. Well, then kudos to him for cashing in. But I still think he could get back up to that level with a full, healthy team and maybe a little bit more luck than he's had this year.
How many Seth Jones war charts have you seen this season?
That's a good point. You're right. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We just talked about the All-Star game, but I do have a question here. It's slightly different. It's just based on this year. This year's All-Star game should be canceled. Buy it or deny it?
Buy it, just out of the principle of it, and it would buy you a few days of actual regular season. So I'd buy it, but we know the league's not going to do that. There's all these sponsor obligations. That's the other thing, too, about this weekend every year is it's like...
That's why they do it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's a big thank you to all the major partners of the National Hockey League, and all the bigwigs, executives get to mingle with the players, some celebrities, musicians. Like, it's this big gathering mid-season, and that's pretty important, especially when you're trying to continue to have these big donors and partners, if you will.
Yeah.
But I would buy it. I
really still be canceled this year. Buy it. I'm buying it as well. The Edmonton Oilers will blow out the Senators on Saturday. Buy it or deny it?
Deny it. Ottawa had a good game yesterday. Matt Murray played well. I don't know.
He did.
I don't know how rusty Calgary was, but they had their chances to score, and Murray stood tall. So I think it'll be a tighter game than we're probably anticipating. I think it's the Oilers do win, but we'll see how rusty they are. In Ottawa, they lost, I think, Connor Brown with a broken jaw.
Yeah,
which is a big blow. So it'll probably be a close game, but I'll deny it. I'm
going to buy it, but I'm going to say it's only by 3. Like, that's just, I'm not going to say it's like 6-1. But I'm going to say Draisaitl and McDavid go to town for a night, and they pick up the win.
Yeah,
And then everything's fine on Monday, and people are planning the parade again, buddy. It's going to be your post-game show is going to be classic. Like, it's going to be awesome.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll see, though. Last one.
Yeah.
Buy it or deny it for Jiffy Lube in Morinville. Ken Holland is the only one to blame for Mike Smith's injury issues hurting the team this year. Buy it or deny it?
Deny it? Mike Smith's body is the only one to blame for his injury issues. Like, this thumb thing is like, how did you know this thumb thing would continue to linger? I don't know if he had a high ankle sprain before. You know, that's what the hubbub has been, or deep bruise on his leg. Ken Holland tried in the offseason to upgrade the goaltending. It's not like he sat there and was like, hey, goalies are great, I'm not going to do anything. He tried. He's still dealing with the shit sandwich Peter Chiarelli left behind, which is the Mikko Koskinen deal. And there was no takers, man. I know there was so much goalie movement, but they tried. Other scouts.
How do you go 0 for 2 summers in a row? Like, how can you not get somebody? And it's a weird one because they're like, I thought the best way about it would have been Mike Smith on a 1-year low deal, get rid of Koskinen and bring in somebody else. Like, I thought that would have been the way to go about it. The fact that they had to deal with Koskinen again on top of Smith dealing with these injuries, certainly not ideal. You're right. I mean, Mike Smith's injury issues. I mean, but he's 39. I mean, if you're Ken Holland, you got to have a better plan than Koskinen if you're putting your eggs in the basket of a 39-year-old, you know? Like,
listen, I'm denying it not to defend him. It's Mike Smith's body, first of all. And then secondly is like, they tried, man. Like, I remember the free agency period, and when all those goalies were being signed and traded and stuff, all I kept hearing is like, hey, they're trying to move Koskinen hard, and they're trying to get another goalie in there, and it just didn't happen. So that's a tough one, man. He was left with a tough situation. That's why I would have bought out Mikko Koskinen if Alex Stalock was fit to play.
Stalock, by the way, on waivers, right? Yeah. So, all right, hey, bonus, buy it or deny it. AB Poker Inc., who watches a lot of these, he chimes in. Buy or deny it. Is it unusually hard to stay focused on the team this year with COVID and game delays and things along those lines? Buy it or deny it?
No.
More difficult than usual, isn't it?
No.
Like, it's a little more difficult.
It's like, it's hard to say it's been tedious because you go to the rink. Like, our job is to cover the team. Like, you're never going to complain about it. It's been weird, that's for sure. But I'll never say it's been harder. It's just weirder. Like, it's just, everything's weirder. And like, rolling in for 4 or 5 days straight of practice it's not fun, if you will, or it doesn't keep it exciting, but no, it's been okay. And the other thing, it prolongs conversations about issues, and we get to have fun with it. So I'll never complain about it. I'll never complain about it.
Look, this recent shutdown allowed me to crush another Nielsen show draft. So I'm totally fine with it, man. I'll just keep ranking up the dubs. Like, it's not a problem with me. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I kind of get where a fan base would be coming from. Like, you want to watch your team. For like my kids. Like, Marshall's like, Daddy, when do the Oilers play? I'm like, well, not until you're 7. Like, just relax. They're going to be playing again at some point. So, what do you got going on timing-wise tomorrow for a rare pregame show for Tommy Gazzola?
Holy smokes, man. It's been a while. Yeah. I think we go at 6:30 tomorrow because it's an 8 o'clock start on a Saturday. So 6:30, myself, Connor Halley, Matty Kassian, former Sen, and we'll find a guest to bring on. Maybe we'll get, I don't know, we'll get somebody good. But yeah, it's weird. We have a show tomorrow. It's been, 10 days, 11 days, and I don't know. Well, it'll be fine.
Well, have fun, man. I think you'll be breaking down a big Oilers victory. So,
3 or more goals,
we'll
right?
See. Yeah. They win by 3 or more. We'll see. I think the Sens used up all their good game last night against the Calgary Flames. So we'll see how that plays out. Tommy, have fun working tomorrow, buddy, and we'll be back with 2 more episodes of the Oil Stream next week. Huge thanks, of course, to our friends at Jiffy Lube out in Morinville. Go see them, 8805 100th Street. Ken Morrison, visit his website at kenrmorrison.com with Remax. You're buying or selling, he's your guy. And our presenting sponsor, Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Why not a little Saturday night chicken nugget fest as you watch the Oilers take on the Ottawa Senators in the late one Have a good weekend, buddy.
Absolutely. And it's not work when you're having fun. So looking forward to the show tomorrow.